Ohio, Andorra.
One of the dwarfish states of Europe which doesn't have an outlet to the sea and located in East Pyrenees between France and Spain and also associated with them, but not entering the EU.
The state capital, Andorra la Vella.
This once closed principality now prospering, generally thanks to tourism. Under the constitution of the country, official language is Catalan, however de facto functions of official languages are also performed by Spanish and, to a lesser extent, French languages.
So, primary education in the country is divided into three types of schools: Catalan, Spanish and French.
The exact origin of a toponym Andorra is unknown. Among linguists will make a number of hypotheses in this respect. In particular, there is a point of view that the name, Andorra, comes from the Navarro-Aragonese word andorrial, that the earth covered with a bush, the woody area, as valleys of the Pyrenees were covered with big forests means. 778 the first official mention.
790 Independence of Andorra was guaranteed by the Frankish King Charles the Great. At 105 year of foundation of the Principality of Andorra, when Louis Obligachestovi broke thanks to the fact that inhabitants of community of Andorra led Frankish army to the back to Arabs, and for this help Charles the Great granted to community the Great Charter of Freedom. Magna Carta.
The 9th century attacks of Arabs on the territory of the country. 1278 the agreement between the Count de Foix and the Spanish Bishop Erkalski on the establishment of double sovereignty of Andorra. 1479 the Count Francis February de Foix becomes the King of Navarre, and thus the sovereign rights of Counts of Foix for Andorra pass to the Navarre crown. 1589 the King of Navarre ascended to a throne of France under a name of Henry IV, the sovereign rights passed now to a crown French. Formally they remain behind the French state still. Now the President of the French Republic is considered the nominal Prince-Co-Governor of Andorra. 1866 provisions of the Andorra Constitution are drafted. 1934 principles of the modern Andorra Constitution are developed. 1934 Boris Kosarev offered on July 8 himself as the King of Andorra. 1976 the first political party, the Democratic Party of Andorra, is formed. 1981 division of the power on legislative and executive. Till 1993 Andorra was under double protectorate, France and the Bishop Erkalski. 1993 adoption of the new constitution. The first general election. Accession to the Union. 1994 Andorra becomes the member of Council of Europe. Mark van Molen is a Prime Minister. On June 13, 1995, diplomatic relations with the Russian Federation are established. 1996 enters OSCE. 1997 becomes the member of UNESCO. Casa de la Vol, Parliament of Andorra. Andorra, the parliamentary principality. Till 1993 Andorrets paid to the sovereigns an annual tribute. 960 francs, to the President of the French Republic. 460 pesetas, 12 cheeses, 12 capons, 12 partridges, 6 gammons, to the Erkalski Bishop. According to the Constitution of 1993, the Principality of Andorra, parliamentary democracy. The Prince's co-governors presented in Andorra by the deputies. Vidya.
However, their power remain heads of state, it is generally nominal.
The supreme legislative body, unicameral General Council of Valleys. General Council. From 28 dicks elected for 4 years by a universal and direct vote. 14 on the national district, and the others, on 2 from each of 7 communities of the country. The head of General Council, General. Till 1993, the first. Chosen from among members of Council. Executive power is carried out by the Government Executive Council.
Its chairman is elected by General Council and officially approved as princes, co-governors for 4-year term.
The structure of Executive Council is formed by the chairman. The judicial system consists of Court of Magistrates, Criminal Court, the Supreme Court and the Constitutional Court. 5 judges are a part of the Supreme Court. 1 is appointed the chairman of Executive Council, on 1 each of princes, co-governors, 1 a general syndic, and 1 judges of Court of Magistrates. A term of office of judges -6 years. The chairman of the Supreme Court is the judge appointed by a general syndic. Judges of Court of Magistrates and also the chairman of Criminal Court are appointed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court also appoints members of office of the Attorney General. The Constitutional Court is responsible for interpretation of the Constitution and also consideration of all complaints about discrepancy of the Constitution of laws and agreements.
The Constitutional Court includes 4 dicks appointed.
On 1 each of princes, co-governors and 2 general council. The term of office of judges is 8 years. Each of judges presides in turn within 2 years. Since 1278 Andorra is the state associated with Spain and France. On these countries responsibility for protection of Andorra lies. Established then, on September 8, 1278, the border of Andorra is the oldest frontier which remained up to now in the world. In 1993, after adoption of the Constitution and release from feudalism relics, Andorra entered the Union and opened a number of embassies and representations abroad. The territory of Andorra makes 468 km.
The capital, Andorra la Vella.
The city of Andorra la Vella, which is in the Pyrenees at the level of 1029 m, is the most mountain capital of Europe. In a relief of Andorra the high Rocky Mountains divided by narrow valleys prevail. It is a lot of mountain lakes of glacial origin. In the territory of Andorra is an iron ore deposit and lead. Climate of Andorra moderate, with snow cold winter and in the cool dry summer. Average temperature, +9 C. 6 natural objects are protected by the state. In a vegetable cover the oak, a beech, a chestnut, a pine, a fir tree prevail. In mountains, the alpine meadows. The population of Andorra makes 76098 people. 2013. The population of the capital - inhabitants.
Birth rate level -7.3 on 1,000 inhabitants. Mortality -7.4.
2018. 34989 inhabitants are made by radical Andorrets, descendants of the Catalan peasants who occupied in the ancient time mountain valleys. B-sides, Spaniards, 3695 French, 10809 Portuguese, etc. Live in Andorra. Official language, Catalan, on which tells a third of the population. Languages are widespread, also French and Spanish. A Castilian dialect. Most of believers, 99%. Catholics. As of 2019, by estimates of the Union, 45102 immigrants, making 58.5% of the population of the country, lived in Andorra. The population on national structure, 2013. Andorrats -45.98%. Spaniards -26.37%. Portuguese -14.20%. The French -4.86%. British -1. 27%. Other nationalities -7.32%. The population on national structure, 2018. Andorrats -48.8%. Spaniards -25.1%. Portuguese -12%. The French -4.4%. Andorra, the advanced small European post-industrial state.
The main revenue of the budget of the country, the tourism giving 80% of GDP of the country.
Andorra is annually visited to 9 million tourists. The state takes the minimum part in management of economy, and private business works almost without restrictions. The large role in economy is played by the banking sector, using the tax benefits existing in the country. Since April 1, 2012, official agreement on use of euro as national currency works. Before this date, euro was used informally. Development of agriculture in Andorra is limited to the fact that only 2% of lands are suitable for processing. Less than 1% of the population are employed in this industry. Potatoes and tobacco, in a small amount, barley and a rye are grown up. There are reserves of iron ores, lead, mineral water and the wood, hydroenergy resources. Advantages. Because of the high level of bank confidentiality, Andorra is a tax oasis. Trade in luxury goods prospers. Weaknesses. France and Spain define economic policy of the country. Dependence on import of food and raw materials. The ski season, lasting since the beginning of December on the middle of April, enjoys wide popularity. Here, two big ski resorts, Grandvalira and Valnard, with a total length about 200 km.
Andorra is a zone of duty-free trade that gives the chance to buy various goods with discounts of 25% minus 40% of cost of similar goods in Spain or France.
The train in later Carol, France. One of two stations serving Andorra. In Andorra there are no railroads, though the line connecting later Carol and Toulouse, which, in turn, connects to the French Tève in Toulouse, passes in 2 kilometers from border of Andorra. Extent of a road network of Andorra is 279 km, from which 76 km have no hard coating.
Two main roads leaving Andorra la Vella, CGA-1 conducting to border with Spain and CGA-2 conducting to border with France through Anvalers Tunnel near Pos de la Casa.
In the winter the main roads in Andorra are usually quickly cleaned from snow and remain available, however, across the territory of France. RE-20/22. Clean the main road from Andorra less often and sometimes close because of avalanche danger. Other main roads from Andorra la Vella. CGA-3 and CGA-4. Conduct in Arcalis and Fell respectively. Bus traffic connects all urban areas and many villages. Frequency of the movement on the majority of the main routes in rush hours reaches half an hour and less.
Often buses from Andorra to Barcelona and the airport of Barcelona and also to Toulouse and the airport of Toulouse ply.
To each of these points it is possible to reach approximately in 3 hours. There are also routes to the airport of Girona and to Portugal through Lerida. Bus transportations are generally made by the private companies, but some local lines are served by the government.
Private bus companies: Autocars Nadal, Camino Bus, Cooperativa Interurbana Andorrana, Eurolines, Hispano Andorrana and Novotel.
In Andorra there are no railroads. Ports are the airports for landing of planes, however there are several commercial helipads in Lomassan, Arensail and Escaldes-Engordon. The next airports are located in Barcelona, Toulouse, Perpignan, Reus and Girona. The closest of them, in 160 km. The Perpignan, Rivesaltes Airport, serves short routes to several cities of Great Britain and France.
The small airport La Seu-d'Urgell in 12 km to the south from Andorra serves only private planes now. The Catalan government studies a possibility of use it in the future as the public airport. The nearest railway station 50 Hospitalet Preslandor is in 10 km to the east from Andorra and gives an opportunity to reach Toulouse and further by high-speed trains to Paris.
The line is served by SAICs. Education for all children from 6 to 16 years is obligatory. Secondary education is provided by the state free of charge. There are 3 types of schools: Andorranski, French and Spanish, training in which is generally conducted in the Catalan, French and Spanish languages, respectively. Parents can choose type of school which is attended by their children. All schools are constructed and contain the authorities of Andorra, however teachers at the French and Spanish schools are paid, generally with France and Spain. About 50% of Andorranski children are admitted to the French elementary schools, the others, in Spanish, are Andorranski. The State University of Andorra, the only university of the country founded in 1997. The university trains bachelors in the field of medicine, computer sciences, business administration and education, and also carries out preparation on courses of higher education. 2 only higher schools in Andorra are the School of Nurses and School of Computer Sciences, are a part of the university. The last carries out preparation on a doctor's degree.
The difficult geographical location of the country and also a small amount of students don't allow the University of Andorra to develop full academic programs. Therefore, the university works mainly as the center of distance learning, providing communication with the universities of France and Spain.
The center of distance learning. Centre de Estudis Virtuals. The university has about 20 programs of preparation, both on the bachelor's degree and on the master's degree, in the field of tourism, law, the Catalan philology, the humanities, psychology, political sciences, audiovisual communications, telecommunications and East Asian researches. The center also offers various programs of additional education and retraining for professionals. Medical care in Andorra is provided by everything working and 2/3 of their families within the state system of social insurance. Cas Andorrana de Seguretat Social, which is financed by contributions of the employers and workers proportional to the salary. The cost of medical care becomes covered by an insurance of 75% in case of outpatient treatment. Expenses on drugs and visits of doctors, 90% in case of hospitalization, and 100% in case of accidents in a workplace. The remaining expenses can be covered by the private insurance policy. The comprehensive private health insurance is necessary for other citizens and tourists. The main hospital Meritzel is in Escaldes-Engordany. In the country there are also 12 centers of first aid. The Andorra National Telecommunication Company, Servei de Telecomunicacions de Andorra, Station or SOM, is an exclusive operator of fixed and mobile telephone communication and provider of internet services. The same company manages technical infrastructure of national network of digital television and radio. It was planned that by the end of 2010 each house in the country will have fiber optic connection to the internet with the minimum speed of 100 m. Radio y Televisio de Andorra, RATVA, is the only television channel in the country. Radio Nacional de Andorra manages 2 radio stations, Radio Andorra and Andorra Musica. 3 national newspapers, Diari d'Andorra, El Periodic, and Bon Dia, and also several local newspapers are issued. The only newspaper in Andorra which is issued not in Catalan, the All Andorra Com newspaper, which is available in 3 languages: English, French and Russian. Andorra is the homeland of such national dances as Anay Maraca. I remained in Sant Julià de Lòria. Andorra folklore music has the general with music of the neighbors of line, but is Catalan on character that is expressed available such dances as a sardana. Among other Andorra national dances, in Andorra La Vela and Saint Anna's dance in Escaldes-Engordany. National holiday of Andorra, the Day of the Mother of God of Meritxell is celebrated on September 8. In the architectural relation, Andorra is allocated with abundance of buildings in Romance style. Then there are more than 40, including Santa Coloma and Sant Cerny Nagel. In Andorra there are no regular armed forces. All power functions are performed by the police of Andorra, numbering 240 police officers and present in a source who are helped by civil assistants, bear responsibility for defense of Andorra, France and Spain. The main objectives of Police of Andorra: protection of public order, criminal investigation department, border control, traffic control. Also there are small special divisions: film, logical, mine rescue and engineer. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.